This is New York firefighter Raphael Porriette for Firehouse Subs. Every day, a part of every sub you buy at Firehouse Subs helps provide life-saving equipment for first responders. And now, for a limited time, they're introducing the Daily Sub Special. Every day, get a medium sub of the day for just $5.55. They kick it off with Meatball Monday and finish it off with Italian Sunday, with something delicious every day in between for just $5.55. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives. Tap the banner now to learn more.
Blog Talk Radio.
To the party. We had some technical difficulties, as is likely to happen on a Blog Talk Radio podcast. Nevertheless, this is the Metal Hammer of Doom, and I am your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight, we metal faithful are going to review stoner metal greats, Corrosion of Conformity. No cross, no crown. No shoes, no shirts, no service. No, just no cross, no crown. And joining me tonight, of course, is my co-host with the most, the Metal Coop, Robert Cooper. How do you do, sir?
Well, it's snowing. We officially have 6 inches, and for once, yeah, I know. The weather actually told the truth, unlike most men. You know, they promise a lot. Yeah. I told you I once hit a guy at a doctor's office with that joke. He was like, "Yeah, they said they're calling for 7 to 12 in Boone," and I said, "Yeah, buddy. Well, most men promise that, so I think we'll be all right."
Yeah.
And he just kind of looked at me like confused and walked off. I'm like, tough crowd. Otherwise, besides the Lonely Hearts Club band back in full force, so we're doing good. We got metal, we've got basketball, and Roman Polanski films, which is great until you realize that Roman Polanski is an awful person.
Indeed. Well, this next person's not an awful person. He's the disapproving dad and the host of source material in his own right. He comes for an education. He is Jesse Starcher. How do you do, sir?
Oh, Diablo, talk to me. Ooh, boy, I can't wait to talk about this band tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to this show. Boys, I'm doing well. Coop, I've got, we know Ronnie Adams. He lives down there in Kakalaki. I also have a cousin down there who's been showing some photos here of the snowfall. I mean, that's not normal, dude. How are you dealing with it?
Simple. I have the, son of a bitch. I just fucking fucked that, dunk on the game. Anywho. Yeah, I did that thing in basketball where you get to dunk a ball and, you get denied by the rim. But yeah, I'm off today and I did that actually loading a truck the other day. The dude lifted his truck to a ridiculous manner. So as I was trying to put the, big metal toolbox on it, I just went dunk and almost fell over. But the way I'm handling it is by being off today and tomorrow, just by happenstance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because otherwise I'd be fucked. I mean, I hit a deer over the weekend, so my little car is, I know, this time instead of going 20 and just bumping the deer, this time I was going about 45 or 50 and straight up just plowed the fucker.
You probably fucked the car up pretty bad, I would imagine.
No, not really. I mean, actually, the
surprised.
worst it did is it knocked out kind of part of the fender. It's a little plastic car, and it bent the hood into my headlight, so I don't have a left headlight. But otherwise, like, not too bad.
Not bad.
I mean, I got off real lucky.
I'd say no.
Yeah, no deer going through my windshield. No, no fucking losing half my hood. Yeah, no. This one didn't have antlers.
That's good. It ain't snowing down where you're at, is it, Mark?
No, but it was a little cold out tonight. I took my son to karate, and he actually didn't do too bad with it. I thought I was going to be able to do it with him, but it really, he needed the teacher's entire attention, and so I got to figure out something else to do while he's in karate. We're going to take him again Saturday.
Read a book.
No, I actually got to get my fat ass in shape. So if it works out and he's going to stay in the class, I think what's going to happen is I'm going to drop him off, and then I'm going to go get on one of the exercise machines.
There you go.
Trying to get this fat ass into running shape. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
And then I took my daughter out for a date. Chili's ran a promotion.
Aww.
Tonight was daddy-daughter night at Chili's. It was just a way to get people in the fucking door.
Because nobody likes fucking Chili's.
But yeah.
I've been to Chili's twice in my life. The first time is I turned down the girl of my dreams because all she wanted was a guy to fuck. And the second one was a girl telling me, we're just friends.
Ouch.
So back to your daddy-daughter date.
Let me stop there just for 1 second. I don't know who's got the more depressing stories, you or Robert Winfrey. I just went back and I listened to the Jumanji podcast that we did, and other than me giving him, kind of a ration of shit for not knowing who 10,000 Maniacs were, he's just the way that he talks about his life and everything, it's like, wow, you are a very depressing guy. And I don't know why.
How many times?
I enjoy you. I think you're fine. But he's just like, no, life is a meaningless void. And then I get on here with you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I swear he's threatened to commit suicide, and rather jokingly in most manners. But I swear, if he does it, dude, you might be on the hook, because there's a lot of times where he says, Mark Radulich, I'd rather do this. I'd rather slit my wrists or something else. It's scary.
Yeah, it is. And then I get on here with you, and again, it's just like, so I went on this date. Turns out it was a dude. It was just like, what?
I will say that the one girl that just wanted someone to pay her attention, that's my infamous story of I fixed her relationship. At least they're still dating.
Man, we need a sound bite for this, Mark. We need a sad trombone.
I've had one of those weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. You're laying down on the job on me. That's what's happening, Jesse Starcher. Because wah wah, wah 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 wah. I mean, we did. We finally got. Oh gosh, where is it? We finally got a little bit of this.
They fly over.
Thanks, Chuck.
They fly over.
Anyway,
I watched a TV show that very much reminded me in some ways of that band, Black Lightning.
Oh,
yes,
I haven't watched that yet.
Don't give anything away.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's currently
I'll just say, if you don't mind black liberal politics.
Terrific. Third attempt. Took my daughter to Chili's for daddy-daughter night. Jesse, let me ask you a question. At what point did your daughter suddenly have opinions and was able to tell you things and conversate? At what age did she stop? Did she just not stop talking? Like, if it was just you and her, How old was your daughter when you had to tell her, for God's sakes, take a bite of your sandwich. We're going to be here all night at this rate because you won't shut up.
Oh boy. I honestly would probably say 7 or 8 years old.
Okay, that makes sense.
That would be right around the time that she felt that need to discuss every bit of happenstance that occurred during the day or school day. Boy, them school stories. There are many.
Kid named Monkey.
Oh, jeez. It continues to this day.
I'm never going to forget that.
It continues to this day, Mark. So it definitely once it gets started, it doesn't stop anytime soon.
My kids were chatty to begin with.
Just talk to my parents because I never shut the fuck up.
My kids were chatty to begin with, but I took my over the summer I took my daughter to go shoot arrows, and then we went to lunch, and while we were in lunch, she really didn't talk all that much, and I actually remember saying to Melissa at the time, I was like, I know we had a good time, and I know we had fun, but I didn't feel like I really connected with her because she doesn't really talk to me. And apparently she talks Melissa's ear off. Boy, did we make up for that tonight. Holy cow. And it did make me think about like relationships, in the sense of she's eventually going to date, and the guy, I think the guy that she'll fall in love with is the guy that's able to sit across the table from her and listen to her prattle on for an entire length of a dinner conversation without interrupting. Like, that's the guy she'll marry. I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't even know what to say to any of this. I'm just like, and suddenly I was like, oh my God, I really am on a date. This is the kind of shit you do to impress a girl. Is not have opinions on things, and just show attentive listening, but don't actually talk.
Yep.
Now you know why I'm the 2-date wonder.
See, you haven't learned. You haven't learned, Robert Cooper.
Well, no, because I am that person that's just like,
you're the girl in your dates?
That's me. Oh, I mean, is this podcast any indication of the fact that I talk a lot?
That's why this podcast, this and the other podcast I do are the only ways I get to talk a lot. Otherwise, forget about it. All right. Speaking
I'm a
talker. Of talking a lot.
Isn't that obvious?
And we're all talkers. All right. Jesse, I'm going to go to you first because you actually know this band. But, you, as we've talked about in previous podcasts, you come here to learn about the music. You don't know a lot of the bands that we're talking about, and you're like, oh my God, who's Goat Penis? Never heard of them, but I hear they're wonderful. Right,
but
Ronnie
I want
Adams?
more of them.
Sometimes Ronnie Adams isn't available to talk to you about the Goat Penis, and so you come to the Metal Hammer of Doom.
Or my favorite, Goat Moon.
Goat Moon.
No. Good old Nazi satanic black metal.
Terrific. But this one, you're actually aware of Corrosion of Conformity. Now, are you like the rest of us white boys? You've heard of Corrosion of Conformity pretty much when Deliverance came out and Albatross was a buzz clip? Or did you know about them before that?
I'm looking right now, looking at their discography just to kind of figure out when it was. And I would say it was probably Deliverance. Me finding these guys was just, the first time I'd ever heard of them. It's kind of sad, but this is how I first heard of them. I was actually at my grandfather's funeral, and of course you see family members from all across that you've not seen in quite a while, and one of them was my cousin, and we got to talking about Clutch. That came up, and I think we were talking about the self-titled album, and I was just telling him, oh yes, I enjoyed it so much, and I can't wait to hear what else I can find from this band. And obviously, this was 1990. I think this was 96, and he's like, well, you ought to check these guys out. Pops in his tape in his car, cassette deck, and it was Deliverance, and I was like, oh, these guys sound really good. I'm going to have to check out more of them. They, of course, fell off the radar until I went back to college, had access to the internet, and I listened pretty steadily, or at least up to America's Volume Dealer, and then recently, about 4 or 5 years ago, I was able to get a hold of the live album that they did, and I listened to that faithfully probably like 3 or 4 months straight. Just, usually at least 2 or 3 times a week I had it in there. I can remember going Christmas shopping, had both earbuds in and listening to the live album, or live volume during that time. But there's some albums in here that I don't recall listening to a whole lot of, specifically the later stuff in the 2012, that the self-titled album, I don't know if I know anything off of there. So they're one of those bands that I really enjoy. Their greatest hits are a lot of fun, and but the later stuff kind of is just something I haven't listened to a whole lot of.
Yeah, I discovered them in high school. Deliverance came out in 1994, so I was a senior in high school at the time. Like I said, Albatross was the big hit off of there. I mean, other ones were Clean My Wounds, and maybe Pearls Before Swine. I honestly don't remember, but Albatross was definitely the big one, followed by Clean My Wounds, and Albatross was everywhere at the time. This was probably, other than Clutch, this was probably my introduction to stoner rock, stoner metal. Mm-hmm. And I remember after that, I got an advanced copy because I was working in record stores at the time. 1996, I got a copy of Wiseblood, which it was okay. King of the Rotten's not bad. But a lot of it, like I wasn't really into. I didn't think it was as good as Deliverance. And then for a while, I didn't listen to them at all. Along the way, I went back and started listening. I think maybe like when I got a Spotify account, I was just, or you know what it was? It was probably like came up on Pandora. I heard Who's Got the Fire from America's Volume Dealer. Holy cow. Zippo, Who's Got the Fire, Stare Too Long. Oh my God. America's Volume Dealer that came out in 2000. It's an amazing album. And I had no idea until I heard it years later. When they put out In the Arms of God, I actually saw them in concert in Miami. I was living there at the time, Fort Lauderdale, actually. And I was living in Miami, and I saw them in Fort Lauderdale. And I thought it was okay. I don't remember anything standing out about this. And then again, I kind of stopped paying attention to them for a while. And then I heard that I remember the self-titled Corrosion of Conformity, and I thought, meh, nothing really jumped out at that. So it had been a while since I had heard much of Corrosion of Conformity. And I was really anxious to hear what this new album was going to sound like. So we'll start talking about that in just a few minutes. But this is one of those bands, they've been around since 1984, I believe. Hang on, let me pull it up again.
You're right. Yeah, their first album dropped in 84, Eye for an Eye.
Yeah. They formed in 1982 in North Carolina, as a matter of fact, speaking of which. And so they're a little on the uneven side. Not everyone's a zinger, but there's a lot of potential here with Corrosion of Conformity. They can put out some truly amazing music, and they can put out some kind of blah standard. Just depends. I know they've had some lineup changes over the years too. Robert, why don't you do 50 words or less here? What's your thoughts on Corrosion of Conformity's history in the music?
I discovered them actually the way I discovered a lot of the bands in my early metal listening youth via 411mania.com site I used to write for. There's a column called The Mosh Pit. I miss you, Dan Haggerty. And the album that actually I was introduced with was Blind, which I actually preferred to Deliverance myself. But it was nice, and it's got some nice like southern metal. It kind of reminds me a bit of Down, especially when I started listening to it, because I discovered Down through Pantera, because my uncle's fucking Pantera devout. He even loves Damage Plan. I don't know. I think Damage Plan was always just kind of okay. The vocals just didn't do it for me. But yeah, fucking. Let's see, Blind, Deliverance.
I'm just looking at the.
Fuck you, cat! Damn it! I didn't mean to call that timeout.
I'm looking at the controller. I'm looking at the tracks for Blind, which, you know, Vote with a Bullet is clearly a top 3 C.O.C. song for me. But track 16, titled Jim Beam and the Coon Ass.
Interesting.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, my favorite song off that is Dance of the Dead, which that's just a fucking killer track. And that's real upbeat, up-tempo, just good, great fucking shit. Then I own America's Volume Dealer, and I've not listened to it. I bought it like 3 years ago. I still need to. I know. I'm falling behind on it. No, cat. God damn it. And then I remember listening to the 2012 album. I remember liking part of it, but I know it was I know it didn't have Pepper Keenan on vocals, which kind of threw me off. I was reading up on him, and he came back in 2014. I didn't listen to that album, but I am so happy to have him back because his vocal styling really fits the band. I feel it's almost their signature sound, that kind of southern metal.
I agree. So, okay, obviously Mark took off. He would have jumped in right now.
So I was like, is Mark dead? Did he die? Is he on the toilet again?
He's still awake. Okay, so let me just take a look here. I
don't hear any snoring.
Now we're really concerned. Their greatest hits. I just want to quickly go down. I'll quickly go down through their greatest hits before we get into the stuff here, because this is a Spotify playlist where they put together the very best. No, excuse me, that's not the Spotify playlist. This is actually called Playlist, the very best of Corrosion of Conformity. Heaven's Not Overflowing, Vote with a Bullet, Drowning in a Daydream, the aforementioned Albatross, Clean My Wounds, The Land of Free Disease, which that does not ring a bell, Buried, King of the Rotten, Big Problems, which for some reason they have a little like sub thing beside it. It says Corrosion of Conformity, but it's spelled let's try this again. CORROSIAN. I don't know what the difference is there. I don't know if it's like a cover band or I have no idea. Then we got Fuel, and one of my other favorites, Long Whip, Big America. I really like that one. Then we have Wishbone, The Door, and Migraine, which there's a band called Migraine, I believe. And just to think about it, that gives me a migraine. What do you think of that, Coop?
I do know of Migraine, if I'm not mistaken. Or am I thinking of something else? I might be thinking of another band.
Oh, damn it.
I know. I'm trying to think if that was the band I was thinking of.
Yes, there is a band. There is a band by called Migraine. I'll tell you, it's a melodic death metal band from Helsinki, Finland.
Yep, that's the one I was thinking of.
That's them.
I was like, are they like a technical death metal sort of outfit? I just couldn't place them for the life of me. But yep, that's what they are. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're actually total side note, like new albums. There's some really good shit coming out so far. Like,
is there?
There's a lot of exciting releases on the horizon. Like the more I see, the more I'm like, man, I need to start writing again. Like, Orphan Land's coming out. God, I'm so excited. That's gonna be on Valentine's Day, and it gives me something to look forward to on Valentine's Day because that's my least favorite day of the year. Oh, dude, that is my least favorite day of the year. No joke. So yeah, we'll just spend the day of love and cherish. The day to love and cherish with a Israeli metal band that talks about loving each other and don't blow each other up.
It's a good message.
It's not cool.
That's a good message.
It is. Yeah, because like All Is One, that album was absolutely phenomenal. But they have lost their guitarist since then, so I'm interested in seeing where that's going to go.
Did I ever tell you what I did for my wife for Valentine's Day a couple years ago? I may have.
I'm
did
sure
really
you got an ass tattoo.
of her face.
Oh no! Oh no!
No, it was. We got into some kind of an argument because I didn't exactly get her, what she wanted for Valentine's Day. Mark, are you back?
Well then, what
I am
are
back.
you, a damn
Sorry.
mind reader?
Okay.
Oh my God! Seriously, I had to go to the bathroom. I could not hold it in.
Chili's. Fucking Chili's. At it again.
Fucking Chili's. Hashtag fucking Chili's. All right. I'm going to go ahead and I don't know what kind of crazy story you guys are in the middle of, but fuck it.
No, go for it, man.
He's talking about getting an ass tattoo of his wife's face.
Terrific.
A face tattoo of my wife's ass? I could have got it backwards.
No.
We're never going to get to the music tonight.
We got 15 songs. Hey, be aware. I put everything on here. So there's interludes. So if you want to skip them, feel free.
All right. Yeah. Just because we've now wasted like 30 minutes with utter nonsense.
You shat for half of it.
Poop and nonsense. That's all this podcast is. Let's go ahead and go right to track 2. This is The Luddite. Cooper, what'd you think of that one? Kind of on the heavier side for this band. A little less thrashy, a little less stonery, but, definitely crunchy.
Actually, it reminds me a lot of High on Fire.
Yeah, definitely High on Fire.
Yeah, I get a lot of vibes of them. Very kind of the real crunchy guitars, the growling, almost like a growling vocal. I mean, you could still, with the chorus, the singing on it, it still had Pepper Keenan's voice with that Corrosion of Conformity style, but this is definitely a lot heavier song to start out with, and I really liked it. Yeah, again, High on Fire vibes.
Yeah, what you said there, Mark, about them being heavier compared to what we're kind of used to, that was exactly what I heard. And I wondered if that was going to set the tone for the rest of the album, because it had been such a long time and I hadn't had the chance to listen to what they've released recently. I was like, okay, are we are we going for a genre change here, or not genre change, but are we going to focus on a little bit more of the heavier stuff? And it's had signature C.O.C. elements to it. It was just a heavier song.
Yeah, I liked it. I prefer the more stoner rocky type stuff from Corrosion of Conformity, but when they're rocking, when it's heavy, that's not bad either. Let's go ahead and go on to track 3 here. I'm gonna make up for a little bit of time since we do have 15 tracks. This is Cast the First Stone. Yeah, I think my first run through on this album, this is the one I liked a lot. Really, really good stuff here. What did you think, Jesse?
Yeah, I had my notes here. This was one of the better upbeat ones off this album. And again, I was worried that we were going to focus on some heavier aspects of what they could play. And I think right here they kind of let you know, like, hey, no, we're still Corrosion of Conformity. And I got of the two we've heard so far, this felt more like the Corrosion of Conformity that I knew. And it's good. It's a good song. Coop?
Yeah. Again, kind of the more the heavier vibes from this song. But I like what they have going on here. As we get further into it, I feel like they get a little bit here and there closer to the stoner, more like your stoner and southern rock roots. But this song really does continue the trend of kind of that heavier sort of sound that you found with the first. What was the first song? It was the lead single, "Son of a Bitch." I don't know. That song. The song with the music and the stuff and the thing.
Terrific. Metal Hammer of Doom laying down all the important information.
More or less, like I feel like with that entire statement, I said like, yeah, that was like the first one. I feel like I just finished a daddy-daughter date.
Oh, great.
Hey, at least your time at Chili's went better. At least your time at Chili's had a better ending. Well, maybe not from the other end, but less awkward.
Our daddy-daughter date ended when we left Chili's. That was the end of that. So anything that happens after that has nothing to do with the date. So what I'm trying to tell you is my run to the bathroom previously has nothing to do with the daddy-daughter date. She's long fallen asleep. Actually, Jesse podcasts, in a bunker underneath his house where no one can hear him.
I do.
But You know what I found out recently? My daughter apparently, she doesn't come out of her room to tell me, hey, shut the fuck up. You're keeping me up all night. But apparently she has woken up during one of my podcasts and she's heard me talking loudly and can't get back to sleep again, which I think is a lie because I go check on both my kids at the end of my podcast usually, and they both sound asleep. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. But
way to go, Mark.
Occasionally,
keeping the kids up.
Occasionally I wake her up. And she actually asked me, she's like, I heard you say a lot of bad words. Why is that? What are you talking about? I'm like,
Father of the Year. Hey, you remember the times when I used to have to. You remember when I used to have the podcast from a bunker, and then I got locked in that bunker.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
And that was it for that.
So the other thing I was going to mention about that is I made the mistake of playing the What Happened When podcast in front of my daughter on a ride to take her to Girl Scouts, and
okay, now is this another podcast? What Happened When? What is that?
That's the Tony Schiavone podcast.
Oh, okay, all right. Now I've seen a few things. Tony Schiavone doesn't hold back.
No, he does not.
Oh, really? It is not the greatest podcast in the history of our sport, is it?
Oh, it certainly is, Ollie. In any case, so let me get through this real quick. So so this was like the best of What Happened When, and we were kind of going through all the bits and talking about different things that happened. And one of the things that came up was the origin of Klondike Bill on What Happened When. The Klondike Bill was a ring crew guy, and he did a lot of behind the scenes stuff, production wise, like craft production, not TV production, for WCW. So like if they were doing a Judy Bagwell on a pole match, it was his job to set up the pole and shit like that. He built cages, that sort of thing. Okay. Well, apparently he's also a world class pervert. And he ate parking lot panties, and he's talking about all this stuff. Yeah, he ate
parking lot panties.
He did.
That's world class. Wow.
Parking lot panties.
Yes.
But what? I said parking lot. Is it panties I found in the parking lot?
Yes, sir. Errant panties have made their way to some sort of parking lot. So anywho, so he's telling all these stories, and I don't have enough sense to turn it off with my daughter in the back, thinking, oh, she's not listening. She has no clue what's going on here. She doesn't know what a cat bath is. So we get out of the car, and my daughter kind of cozies up to me as we're walking in the Girl Scouts. She says, can we not listen to any more talking? They say a lot of bad words, and I really don't like it. I find it offensive. All right.
Hey, well, that's a good way to verbalize there, kid. Let me tell you something. My 7-year-old son would be asking for more. He would want to be listening.
He'd be like, Dad, what's a ring rat?
I love you, and I think your children are great. Keep your son away from my daughter, okay? You keep him in Ohio. I'll keep her in Florida, and we'll get along just fine.
But what about my 12 cats? What do I do with them?
Give him a cat. Give him a cat bath. All right. Let's move on here.
Oh, it's a bad idea.
This is now, Jesse. To your recollection, this No Cross, is this a bunch of ambient noise?
Yeah, that's an interlude.
All right, we're going to track 5. A wolf named Crow. Wolf Named Crow. I like that one. That one definitely in more of the bar band, stoner rock feel to it. They really do ride that line between like heavy and bluesy pretty well. So I thought that was a good track. What do you think, Jesse?
This right here I think is either the top or at least top 2 for me off this album. I really, really liked the way that Pepper's vocals came across here. It's just a lot of fun, good upbeat stuff. So, it's a wolf named Crow, cat named Dog, horse named Jed,
an ape named Ape,
a boy named Sue.
Coop, what's one of the goofiest names you ever gave one of your cats?
Oh fuck! I remember I once wanted to name a cat. When I was like, was it 8? Yeah, I was like 8. I'm like, well, I mean, people name their cats after what they do, so let's name the cat Eat and Pet Me. Because that's all she wants. She wants to eat, and she wants people to pet her. And in retrospect, that wasn't a good idea. Instead, they named her Yum Yum. I don't know why we named her Yum Yum. Yeah, dude, we've had some, I had a cat named Buns because she ate hamburger buns out of the car trunk one day after we left it open. Oh man, what's some other weird ones? We used to have a lot of weird ones for some outdoor cats because my next door neighbor couldn't seem to fucking spay and neuter her animals, so we kept getting more and more of them, and we'd have to take them and get them spayed and neutered, but that's not as easy as it sounds when they're feral.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, it's kind of hard to catch them sometimes. So it took a few times, but I think if I'm not mistaken, yep, first cat we ever had was Squirrel Man. Because
that's the name of the cat, was Squirrel Man.
Because I was 3, I think. I was 3, and I was told that the cat was bumping around outside the house. And my mom thought there was a man outside, and I thought it was a squirrel, so that's kind of the name we went with.
Squirrel Man.
I think I was told when we moved, we tried to bring him with us, and he just kind of wandered off, cats want to do.
They do.
Yeah, I had some weird ones. Yeah, I had one named Pumpkin. That cat would show up every 6 months or something, and I'd be like, what the fuck?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've fucking cat names for days. I think the latest one I named was Black Tiger because he's stripy, and I wanted to name him after a Japanese wrestler.
I knew it was going to. I had a feeling that was going to be the reference with Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, and then my mom named one Little Kitty.
Little Kitty?
Small cat, Little Kitty, and I was like, that is the laziest goddamn name I've ever heard. But it's because she wanted to name the cat. She wanted to name it Happy, but my stepdad's obsessed with that really mediocre procedural show on CBS, Scorpion. And he's like, oh, like the character from Scorpion? And that immediately killed it.
Oh.
It's like being on a date and mentioning your mother. Boom, done. She did not want a single part of that name anymore. So,
I named my cat Rhino with a Y.
Rhino with a Y?
Oh, because it gores people?
Oh, I wish it was I got this weird crippled cat, where it's its back legs didn't really work very well. So yeah, Rhino didn't move very much, but I was very much obsessed with that wrestler at the time.
Yeah, because it's funny. In my room, I have Biscuit because she was Buns' kitten, and we had Gravy, but he died. But now she has 3 legs, so. Her getting around I was like, she gets around all right. It's just getting up's kind of a problem. I can, you can kind of imagine. It's kind of having to get positioning and propping yourself up on one leg.
Yeah.
You know what I got to imagine? Someone listening to this podcast going, are they really talking about cat names now? What the fuck, dude?
You have
Blame
no
a wolf
idea.
named Crow.
You get me started on cats, man, and we can just have a cat podcast.
Okay. Hey, wait. I have to contribute. All right. Monkey. I called a cat Monkey because it was a short, condensed way of saying "come on, kitty." So I just said Monkey. All right, there you go.
Oh God, there was a dude at a reenact that I used to reenact with who named his cat Shed. And she's like, oh, the woman's like, oh, that's cute. Did you find him in his shed? And he's like, no, I just can't call him shithead in public.
Shed.
Jesse.
Yes.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Girl.
Girl who?
Girl who is a person. That's one of my son's knock-knock jokes.
Girl who is a
the old
person.
Rattledge humor.
Girl who is a person. All right.
Yes.
I'll see if Colton gets a kick out of that. I'll run it by him here tomorrow.
Please bring him down right now and ask him.
Mark, 9 o'clock hits. The kids are in bed. I told you, I do not mess with that programming. It must
that is an
remain.
That is an ill-willed lie, sir.
A malicious and ill-willed lie.
Ill-willed lie. Robert Cooper doesn't know what we're talking about, and we're not telling him.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do. I went to bed at 8 o'clock until I was in 6th grade. It didn't matter if it was a holiday, a weekend.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand the phrase malicious, ill-willed lie.
The manifesto.
Oh no. I'm just talking about. Being on the receiving end of that programming.
Yes.
Okay. Well, no. First of all, Jesse, that is a malicious, ill-willed lie because your children have interrupted this podcast many occasions, which starts at 9 o'clock, which means they've come down after 9 o'clock. So that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, that's my line. All right, this is track 6. This is Little Man. Help me, Jesus, help me clean my wounds. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got that thick groove to it. That 6 inches of groove right there, right in the hot gate.
That's what she calls me.
Oh, those hot gates, right, Jesse Starcher? It's ready for you. It's ready for your 6 inches of thick groove.
You bet. I put a groove right in them hot gates.
Welcome to the Other Podcast Reference Podcast.
It is. Welcome to it. If anything, it should either give them a motivation to go and listen to source material at some point, or to abandon this podcast altogether. One of those two things is going to happen.
People in this podcast like, I thought they would talk about the music. There's a whole bunch of bullshit I don't understand.
Coop, you talked earlier about how the album, as it progresses, it starts to get more into that, southern metal groove. I think this is a prime example of classic Corrosion of Conformity. One of the better songs off of this album, in my opinion. So it kind of stinks that they stuck that. I know they're artists, and I know they want to get their vision across, but I hate that they stuck the... This is the one where they did they have an interlude in between this one? We didn't skip an interlude, did they? We didn't, did we? No, we didn't. I can't remember. But regardless, this is a good one. How's that? Coop.
Here. Yeah, the interludes in this album are kind of off-putting in a way. Like, a lot of times it's like, oh, shit, this is a thing. It's here. Didn't see that coming. Like, yeah, I'm all for interludes. Interludes in music, I feel like it's like maybe like one musical interlude per album, maybe two. Unless it's a concept album, then I'll like Nightfall in Middle Earth by Blind Guardian. You can have that is excused.
Yeah. Well, the interludes in this just felt out of place, and I know we're not talking about an interlude, but there's quite a few on this album. We're going to skip quite a few tonight.
I walked away for 2 seconds to go get my phone. I come back, I'm like, wait, what are we talking about?
We're still talking about the song. We just kind of got on the tangent about the interludes in between some of them.
What are you talking about, guys? D's nuts.
Got him.
I'm talking about these.
Coop,
D's
was there anything else on that one?
Hey, Vision, why don't you show us your dick?
Mark, you're doing the same thing we just gave ourselves shit for. Stop it.
Sorry. I'll be good.
Vision, show us your dick. I mean, I know Paul Bettany has to be naked in everything he's in, so like that's not really that surprising.
Terrific. Goof, talk to me. Pick up that guitar and talk to me. Any other thoughts on this song?
No, I agree with what Jesse was talking about. This kind of feels like them creeping back into their southern metal roots. That's one thing I will say about this album. Is I really feel like this album does visit a lot of the sounds that the band has put forth before. Almost feels like kind of like a little tour in a way, you know, getting me a little taste of everything they've done. Well, not quite as much the crossover, but maybe not the crossover thrash. That'll be we'll save that for the next album.
All right. This next one's an interlude, right, Jesse?
Yeah, go ahead and skip 7 if you want, and we are going into 8, right?
All right, here we go. This is Forgive Me. when I first heard this song, when I first heard this record, rather, it was background music in the house. Second time I played it through, I was driving to work, and and maybe one or two songs would stick out to me in any one of those times, but I wasn't paying close enough attention, admittedly. Now that I'm really sitting here and focusing, I'm really enjoying this. We have a lot of swinging, Southern style, groovy guitar work. A lot of that, that bar band sound. I'm really enjoying this. That was Forgive Me was a really good example of what I'm talking about, where it's that rollicking Southern rock style. What do you think, Jesse?
Yeah, there's points throughout that song where it just begs for some air guitar. You have a good time listening to it, singing along with it. One of the things that I was reading, I was trying to make notes as I went through the album, listening to it at work today. And Forgive Me was just one that felt at home. It wasn't extremely remarkable where I was like, oh, okay, I picked this out or I picked that out. It's a good song. So there's not really much bad I could say about it. I hop on the metalinsider.net and they do specifically say on here, it says, cuts like Forgive Me blend Southern rock with Sabbathy essences. Coop, can you pick out some Black Sabbath influence in here?
Oh, hell yeah, man. There's some fucking Sabbath. And if you don't like Sabbath, you're just either a douchebag or you're Mark Radlich.
I like old Black Sabbath. That Black Sabbath record. Jesse, have you ever heard our Black Sabbath show?
I have. That was that was something else. I mean, you were the correct word would be uninterested. How's that?
It was
terrible.
Me and Sean Garmer dragging that podcast to the finish line. We picked it up and just like, all right, no leaving no man behind.
And meanwhile, I was in the crow's nest shooting at them.
But was it as bad as the Children of Bodom podcast? I still feel like that is the podcast on Legend.
Okay,
where
so there's two different kinds of bad. There's the bad uninterested, like it's just a boring show and we're bored with the music. That was Children of Bodom. That's probably the worst show we've ever done by far. Black Sabbath wasn't a bad show. It was I just was relentlessly ragging on the album. It's terrible.
It was not. Yeah, it wasn't good. I remember many times the other boys being on defense, quite a bit. So.
and then I would take a hammer and smash the fence.
Number 13. Is that what it was? Sabbath? What was it called? 13?
Yeah.
That was 13. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Didn't Megadeth come out with an album of the same name?
They did, and Anvil did This Is 13.
Oh, wow.
And Suicidal Tendencies did 13. Yep.
Lucky number.
It is.
All right.
There's one thing in my life I know. It's random metal albums.
This is track 9. This is Nothing Left to Say. So, I remember the first time I heard that, it reminded me of something else, and I'm getting tired, so I had it in my head ready to talk about it, and then immediately forgot what the song was.
10 o'clock.
Oh,
good old Mark.
Wait, I just had it, and then you guys interrupted me. Damn it.
Sucks getting old and sleepy.
Yeah. I don't know. What kind of vibe did you get from that song, Jesse?
Well, I can tell you that I immediately wrote it off when I remember first listening to this album. I was like, oh, geez, I don't know about this. And then on my second run through, I realized that this is kind of needed. You know, what you want from Corrosion of Conformity is that hook that you can immediately get into in a song that's fun, bluesy, and all that great stuff. But they don't all have to be that. And I think they do a great job of bringing the pace of the album down with this one, but still keeping it very, very, bluesy rock and groove. It's just really slow, methodical, and it kept my interest the second time around. I don't think this is one of those songs I shouldn't have wrote off in the beginning, and it's worth listening to at least 2 or 3 times because it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Coop?
I will say one thing that I fucking dug. I really dug this last song. Yeah, it was fucking killer. I had that that Sabbath drone, a nice swing, like fucking doomy groove to it. It was my shit. More songs like this.
All right,
You like this stuff coming from C.O.C.
We're going to skip the next track here, which is Sacred Isolation. I believe it's a more ambient noise.
Yeah, it's like a really off-tune. It's really off-tune interlude. It's again, interludes. Could do without them.
Right. Let's go to Old Disaster. I got a text message today from my wife that she got from her mother that said Jonas is crying because he can't have big boobs.
That's my boy.
Now, everything I've read said that is actually developmentally appropriate. It's just some talking and some growing, and it'll pass.
Boy, I almost jumped in and asked some questions, but go ahead.
He's not transgendered, if that's that's where you were going. with this.
No. My question. Well, I love how you immediately went and started researching. You're like, okay, I got to figure out what the hell is going on.
Well, no, I was fine with it, in all honesty, because I honestly, if you were like, hey, Jonas, I've got HIV, he was like, well, why can't I have HIV? That's what would happen.
Okay.
Then he'd get mad that then he'd get mad that he doesn't have it. And he's almost 4.
He's fit. Yeah.
I know some adults that act like that.
But
I had to listen to an argument between a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old between a bathroom door today, and each of them was going, "I'm the best," and then the other one goes, "No, I'm the best. No, I'm the best. No, I'm the best." I'm like, what is the problem here? Why do we have to continue to do this? I don't know what they're the best at. Each of them are the best at claiming that they're the best. I have no clue. It's just an argument. One of them has to be the best. Okay, go ahead.
Well, let me finish the story here. So, I was told this was all happening at work, and the only reason why I went and researched anything was because I thought my wife was kind of having a spaz over it. Because the one thing that is also happening is that he keeps touching her boobs, and she's about over it. So we have to kind of stress boundaries with him. But I thought she was spazzing about the he wants boobs thing, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I started researching for her to try to tell her hey, see, this is normal. In any case, I said this in the middle of work, and all the women I work with immediately started to go in every direction with this conversation, which ultimately led to me coming back to, have you ever sat on your balls? Because I have.
Oh, no. Ow, that hurts me.
You've done it, haven't you? Gotten on your bike and you sit right on your balls. That ruins the bike ride right off the bat.
In the car, yeah. My buddy drives he used to drive a '69 Cougar, and he had that problem all the time.
Just sitting on his balls. You ever sit on your balls, Jesse?
Yeah, and for some reason I'm starting to realize it's becoming a little bit more frequent. So it must be something to do with age.
Well, that was the thing, understanding male anatomy. I mean, these are all adult women, many of which have kids, but they still don't seem to understand how male adult anatomy works. And they're just like, how low do your balls hang that you sit on them? I'm just like, no, it's not a hung low thing. It's sometimes you sit on something awkwardly, you're going to catch your balls and sit right on them because who has it?
Well, and sometimes it is the fact that your balls hang low.
Somebody asked me today if my balls hang so low that they teabag the water in the toilet, and I'm like, nope, they're not that low.
Yep.
Oh, you've done that?
It's funny. Another one of my friends. No, another one of my friends has that problem. He's like, yeah, the other day I just sat down on the toilet and I was making tea.
Dude, I mean, wow. There's got to be pieces of clothing or something that can correct that, because that's got to get nasty. I mean, then the whole wiping situation becomes, there's a whole other factor. You got to wipe your nuts as well as your ass.
Not for nothing, but if you sit down and your balls immediately Dunkin' Donuts the toilet, throw them over your shoulder.
Wrap them around your cack.
No, he said that he's going to have to get the male version of a breast reduction once he gets older.
I like the fact that you completely mispronounced that word. You like a crazy Boston accent. Wrap them around your cack.
Your cack.
You can't.
I was wondering what a cack was. I'm like, a cactus? I really don't want my balls wrapped around a cactus.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
This reminds me of something.
Uh-oh.
You know what this reminds me of, don't you?
Do you know?
Isn't it awfully nice to have a penis?
Oh, wow. Yeah, we haven't brought that one out. Hey, Roman Polanski.
Oh,
Sweet
this,
Christ.
this has been your first podcast with me this week, then, because I most certainly have.
Oh, goodness.
All right. Enough about Duncan Balls. This is ELM, track 12.
Duncan D.
We're a silly show.
There's got to be a Google image for that. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can find it. I'll make sure to post you, tag you guys right in it.
And here comes Jesse's
Please
portion
do.
of the show. Jesse Starcher, unlike some of my other minions, you never fail me.
This is an actual thing. Okay, there is a 2016 embroidered military morale patch that says Duncan D's nuts on it. All right? It's apparently something you can buy. The patch is Velcro, backed with, let's just take a look, $12. It's a pretty good sized patch too. I have no idea about the history of this thing, but apparently there has to be one in order for somebody to actually come up with a freaking patch that you would sew or Velcro onto your jacket. That's crazy.
This makes me want to get a denim jacket again and sew patches to it. Like when I was in high school. Many moons ago.
No one is going to accuse us of not having sophomoric humor on this show.
No, no, God, no. Do we even want to talk about this last one? Do we have any thoughts?
Oh, I honestly, I think I put meh beside this one, and I hate to say that because it wasn't horrible. It's not a bad song. It's just it's nothing. Of all the songs on here, it fit in with the rest of them and probably fell more towards the background.
Of all the songs on here, that was definitely one of them.
That was one of them.
I mean,
my reaction to this song was, holy fuck, that guy just got fucked up with a fucking knife. Yeah. Because I'm deciding to watch I'm watching my DVR from Halloween. I'm watching Roman Polanski's Repulsion.
You know, I'll tell you what, this is definitely no Nickelback.
Nickelback! I wouldn't give you a penny back!
Oh, I'm want to revisit that album. I want to go back and listen to it tomorrow or Friday, one of the others. One of those days. Maybe there's something else in there that we could just pull from.
Oh, you're talking about the
Uncle Al.
Uncle Al. Yeah, no, I didn't want to say Uncle Al though. Like, what was the actual name of the album? Do you remember?
Oh, nope, don't remember.
What, the Surgical Meth Machine?
There we
That's
go.
the one.
Yes.
Surgical Meth Machine has given us quite a few lovely gifts.
And you know what's really funny? Like on Metal Archives, there's one guy that fucking gives that album a fucking shining review. And I am so confused as to how that guy managed to come across the conclusion that he did. It's like when you read family members' Facebook posts and you're like, I really don't see how you came to this conclusion. But I'm going to continue reading at...
You read someone's Facebook page and it's all fake news and malicious, ill-willed lies. Right, Jesse?
But you know, it's very interesting. A customer and I we actually had a political conversation that was very mature and respectful, and we both came back with some different views. It was really nice.
That's playing with fire right there.
You're not kidding me. Oh man,
it might also be playing with drones.
They fly over.
In that conversation, Coop, which one of you would be more likely to believe that drones were after you? You or the other party?
Wait, what might be after him?
Drones?
They fly over.
You know, I think it was. I think it would be a little equal. We were actually talking about. That was actually interesting. I was telling him about a movie I went and saw, Last Flag Flying, which brought a tear to my eye. It was a very wonderful film.
Sounds like gay porn.
Like, yeah, yeah, it kind of was. It was about a Vietnam vet finding two old war buddies and burying his son that died in Baghdad.
Burying his son in the hot
porno. More or less, yes. So, but yeah, like he was like, I was a numb. He's like, you know, after they didn't find those weapons of mass destruction, you can't convince me that war ain't a racketeering scheme. I'm like, oh wow, and he's like, and I ain't no liberal, and I'm like, I'm a liberal.
All right.
And then you attempted to kill each other.
Speaking of liberals,
here's
track 13.
Go ahead.
Awkward silence. I call it as it is.
Speaking of liberals, let's go to track 13. No cross, no crown. Wait, is this more ambient noise?
There are lyrics to this song, and it's kind of a song. It's probably the worst song on this album, in my opinion, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you my review right now on that song. Don't come to me afterwards if you play it.
Let's just skip it. Let's move on to track 14. A Quest to Believe, A Call to the Void. That's enough of that. Robert Cooper, what did you think of that one?
Robert Cooper. What'd you think of that one?
No, that was me. I heard what do you think of that one, and I was waiting for you to talk. Yeah, it's fucking awesome solo. I mean, the guitar work on it was well done. Again, it was a lot different from the first part of the album. I like that while some songs don't necessarily stand out as well as others, they still do a really good job of differentiating themselves in those kind of segments from each other, which I guess maybe that's why we have all these interludes. I don't know. But as for that guy and me, actually, we just talked politics while I cut his cabinets for him.
Oh.
At least he didn't make me cut like a guy a week before that was like, hey, buddy, can you do 34 and 15/16? And I looked at him and said, I can try. And I did. I'm actually very proud of myself.
Good for you,
Nice.
Robert.
Because our saw is like literally a wall with a with a 2 tracks
Yeah, I've
on
been
it.
there.
For,
I've been there.
You know that saw then.
I know
that
that
saw
wall. I know that saw.
and you know that it is not exactly the most precise.
No, it is not.
So yeah, that is and Mark knows that wall, and he knows that saw, right? Because he knows the saw is the law, the Sodom song, not the Whitechapel one.
What about the wall from WCW?
It took me 7 years to realize that it was a reference to the Berlin Wall.
Oh boy, there was
it
a
wasn't
guy
until
that
my best friend Nick.
Wait a minute, how did you not figure that
podcast.
out? It was they were calling Alex Wright Berlin because he was German, because he was formerly Das Wunderkind. Okay, then he became Berlin, and Berlin came out with like a bodyguard named The Wall. How did you not figure out that? Really, dude?
Because I didn't know that they were related. I didn't know that they came out together. I just for some reason knew that there was a wrestler called The Wall, and I knew Alex Wright was one day Berlin.
Das
No, it wasn't until my
Wunderkind.
buddy Nick, who I still need to get on this podcast. Take a drink. Take a drink. Wow, I think I've hit all of them today. Awkward Silence, my friend Nick, My Love Life. Holy shit. Oh, and These Nuts. I guess that really is something else we need to add on to that list. Yeah. He was like, Coop, you know that's a reference to the Berlin Wall, right? I'm like, really? He's like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Mind blown. It's the wall.
Do you think drones fly over it?
Oh,
I don't know.
Hang on.
Ask Mark
They
Raleigh
fly over, they fly over.
or Chuck D. I think they do. That. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
It's a horsey. Absolutely.
All right,
Oh, you were
right.
expecting the absolute shit. Or
Absolute shite. Or the horse again.
Wah, 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 wah. Wah, 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 wah. Oh, it's a living, huh? Wah, wah. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Hang on one.
It's the goddamn turkey noises that fucking just make me cackle like a damn hyena every time.
Oh wow! That might have been the birth of the gag girl right there, Mark Radlich. By the way,
You know what I did
bit.
after the last? It was either Runaways or Source Material, one of the two. I stayed up late, went back and listened to every gag reel for the past 2 months.
You're obsessed. Oh,
really?
Wow.
That's some funny shit, dude.
Including Jesus, right?
That reference is lost on me. Explain, Coop.
I threw that in there once. I threw a gag clip of John Zandig yelling "Jesus" just because I could. It comes from Botchamania,
yes.
and it was my text tone for 6 months until I started getting looks from the customers when it would go off. They'd just look at me and I'd just be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, last track of the night before I go Betty bye. This is Son and Daughter. Oh, daughter, tell me daughter.
Sure.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and just give the final word here. You know, that's a good song. And I have to say, I wouldn't call this samey. I think there was enough difference between the songs to stop short of that. But it comes close. I mean, it's a good, after a shaky beginning, I should say, for, the first one or two tracks, we start to get into that corrosion of conformity that we all like, that bluesy stoner rock sound. And it keeps it through right to the end. I would say it's kind of a B+, A- effort from Corrosion of Conformity. Is it one I'll listen to again? Yeah, maybe. Again, this falls into the realm of background music, though. Not something where I would go back and listen to like a specific song. I would just listen to kind of the whole thing, while I'm making dinner or cleaning the house or something.
Okay. I could tell you that most of the reviews that I've read, they have said that this album is a return to form of what Corrosion of Conformity was back when we were listening, when me and Mark started listening. And I think, our appreciation of this album might have been a little bit more if we would have been subject to like repeat listens of the last like two albums that came out. So everybody is praising this for being a return to form. And I can tell you that, being the guy who listens to the greatest hits of Corrosion of Conformity and a bunch of those earlier albums, listening to this, I was really surprised at how much it felt like, there's elements in here that feel very much like the Corrosion of Conformity that I used to listen to. There are a few things that I would do different with this album. A few criticisms we've already talked about were the interludes. There's one song we could completely do without, which we skipped over because it just felt like it did not fit anywhere on here. You'll know it when you hear it. We'll just put it that way. But, it's Corrosion of Conformity back. Let's hope they could do the same thing on their next release. So, thumbs up for me, for sure. Coop?
For this album, I'd give it a solid 3.5. Dunking testicles in a toilet and a 5.
Yeah.
If you can pull that third testicle off, yeah.
No, I had a guy in math class once in high school just like stand up and be like, I have one testicle, and then sits back down. I'm like, the fuck, is this sharing time? Yeah,
thanks, sir.
But no, this fucking, I was like, thank you, sir. That's what I needed to hear. Yeah, but this fucking album's a good one. It's one of those, I'm going to be listening to it more because it offers a lot, but upon first listen, it kind of passes you by, if that makes sense. it's really good background music, but when you start listening to it again, you start noticing the kind of the intricacies in some of the songs, just kind of what each song offers, and how there's really different styles in this album that really make it worth kind of repeat listens. There's some good catchy tracks on here, some great shit. Yeah, 3.5 stars out of 5. That's what I'd fucking give it.
All right. With that, I believe we have reached the end of our show. Next week, let me go to my calendar. Next week is Avatar Country. We'll also be looking at the Vision on source material. Come on, Vision, show us your dick. Then the Orville on TV Party, and as I said, the aforementioned Avatar Country. The following week after that, Black Mirror, The Godfather Part 3, and then we're right here on the Metal Hammer of Doom. We've got Machine Head Catharsis. I've added a new one to the schedule. Just found out about it today. Skindred, Big Kings. We're going to look at that on May 2nd, so I'm looking forward to that. We've got shows lined up every week between now and May 2nd. So tune in to the Metal Hammer of Doom to get your metal fix and your silly jokes. We are full of silly jokes. Go ahead, Robert Cooper, do your thing.
Oh boy, me. Oh, this excites me greatly. So there's this podcast. I'm on it. Valentine's Day. We're doing Orphanland. It'll be a great gift from Mark Radlich to myself, since he's the one person that will give me something for Valentine's Day.
You're my Valentine.
Oh, shucks. If only I would have known it was so easy to get a 42-year-old man's attention. Oh, no. Oh, I don't want to hear the fucking goofy mid-climax. I remember somebody said, like, wait a minute, Goofy as a kid, that means Goofy had sex with somebody. And I'm like, oh, no. I didn't think about that.
Dude, I work in a jail, and one of the questions I have to ask is whether or not... Well, one of the questions I have to ask is...
Isn't it awfully nice to have a penis?
Standard question on every form.
See, I thought your question was going to be... I thought it was going to be, why is Goofy a dog and they treat him like a human, but Pluto's a dog and they treat him like a dog?
Well, here's the typical answer, I guess.
Are you ready? No! God! No! God, please, no! No! No!
Yeah, it sounds like
no!
Most of my dates.
Oh, wow. Thanks a lot. I didn't know that you had done that. Thank you,
Hey, listen. Don't tell Winfrey about that at all, okay? He mentioned that in his own, when he did the IT podcast, he asked me to do that, and I didn't listen to his IT podcast till probably about 2 weeks ago. So I was like, oh man, I'll throw it on there, surprise him when you play it. He'll get a kick out of it if he remembers.
Okay. No, I've been saying for a while that we needed to do it that way.
Are you ready? No! God! No! God, please, no! 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 No!
That's now that right there. Speaking of Michael Scott, that's what she said.
Yeah, you know that I need to carry that clip around with me. Because like Saturday at the board cutting, this guy's like, "Hey, buddy, can you help me out here?" I'm like, "What you need, boss man?" He goes, "I need 20 sheets of OSB cut." And I was like, it took a fucking hour of my day. Nice guy though. But yeah,
we're talking politics.
No. We didn't talk politics. He and I. We just talked. We just talked how much fun it is to cut fucking wood, which it isn't. I'm pretty good at it though.
I wish.
Isn't it awfully nice to have a penis?
Not that wood. No, don't cut that wood. Don't. No, not dick. No. So there's this podcast. Oh, sweet Jesus. And then there's the Sentai Rider podcast that nobody's actually liked it in a while. I think South America finally caught on that we haven't released anything in 3 years.
Well, all of South America has liked that Facebook page.
Right.
I think there's just nobody left.
You're right. So Facebook.com/Central Podcast is SENTARDR podcast. Then there's W2Mnet.com. Sean Garmer, he's my buddy. Yeah, we share content with him. Yeah, he has a website. He owns it. They release shit. It's pretty cool. I'll probably be doing more New Japan stuff when they release it. So that's going to be fun. And then scrapingthebottom.com. My buddy Kevin, that's his thing. I was on there once. He brought cake, and there was a dumpster fire as the episode image. I think part of it was because we have a black member of that podcast named Howie, and I kept doing Roots references until he got up and tried to hit me with a chair.
Jesus!
I was like, your name is Toby. There was the funny thing is he took over my spot on the Three Beards, and I was like, guys, did you ever call him the Blackbeard? And they were like, no. I'm like, come on, man. That's a perfect reference. Why the hell wouldn't you do that? Yeah, I've not been back on that podcast. I wonder why. Apparently, I'm also not allowed to say the C word. Cunt. Because I said that, and Kevin goes, "You can't say that." I'm like, "But I'm not using it in the feminine term. I'm using it in the way that British people use it, where I'm calling you an asshole."
Wait a minute. Why aren't you allowed to say cunt on a show called The Three Beards?
Well, it wasn't even. It's called Scraping the Bottom. That's the name of the podcast.
Oh, who gives a fuck? What pussy on that show says you can't say cunt?
I mean, Kevin, he also told me I can't mention any of our jobs. I'm like, really?
Mark just
really? Well, I get hit.
Mark
I
just used the slang
his.
term for vagina twice in a sentence. I'm just pointing that out.
I get it from Kevin. He's a teacher. Like, I understand it from him, but like really, guys? So I guess I just got to call my work Blue. I got to call him Blue. I call it Blue Hardware Store. But the funny thing was, like, yeah, we'll have to get you on sometime. And I'm like, yeah, it's a drive, right? And like, what do you mean? I'm like, I have to drive 45 minutes to get here, guys. And that's one way. That's a long way for an hour podcast.
Yeah, that you can't say cunt on. Bunch of vaginas.
Right? I mean, that's one of my favorite words and one of my favorite things. I'm kidding. I wouldn't know that. What part of 40-year-old virgin don't you people understand? Dude, I drop that joke at work every once in a while. I'm like, 40-year-old virgin. They're like, you're not 40. I said, give it a few years.
Mercifully.
Anything else?
Can we please?
Roman Polanski is a wonderful filmmaker and a piece of shit human being.
Go, Jesse. Just go.
All right.
Castlevania.
Oh, what's just throwing this out there. There is a metal essentials playlist on Spotify that has who is it? Anyway, the name of the song is "It's a Wonderful Night," or no, it's a horrible night to have.
What a horrible night to have.
Yeah,
Black Dahlia Murder.
Beautiful night. Sorry.
No, Black Dahlia Murder.
You're talking about the Black Dahlia Murder.
Yes, it is on the Metal Essentials playlist. Just throwing that out there. I thought that was funny because I recognized the title before I recognized the band.
Wasn't the Black Dahlia Murder?
I think I have, and I've tried. But there was something that I didn't like about them. So one of these days, I'll have to really delve into it to see why they did.
We'll have to review them.
Indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, go give the Rattlich in Broadcasting Network Facebook page a like to stay up on top of all the great podcasts that we have to offer here on the network. We do wrestling, comics, movies, MMA. We talk video games, just like Coop alluded to. We get some content from our good buddies over there at W2Mnet.com. And we share it over here, and they share our stuff on their site. So I can tell you right now, if you listen to source material, you'll at least get half of the references here on the Metal Hammer of Doom. So you might want to check that out. We have just released, this week was Black Lightning, and we went back to the 70s, and I'm going to get you, sucker. And we had a good time.
I was pimping, yeah.
He was Pimp of the Year. So you could check that out. We had a fun time discussing a 12-issue series called Black Lightning, and it was. I'll tell you right now, if you want a nice little primer for what you're going to get in the series, I would assume most of the characters that show up here are going to be in the series on CW. So we got the White Whale. Coop, the White Whale? He has no idea. All right, so maybe he hasn't showed up yet. And but either
White
way.
Whale, is he like a... Well, so far we've had a...
Is there an albino...
I guess the albino black guy?
Yes.
Yep.
There's your White Whale. All right.
Hashtag
so anyway,
Black Kingpin.
Hashtag albino Kingpin. We just need a big crossover between those two, where they fight each other.
We need black. Okay. We need a triple threat of Kingpin, Black Kingpin, and albino Kingpin. I'd pay money for that.
We need a creator wrestler. Do that, Coop. Sit down some night, grab a WWE 2K whatever, and create a wrestler match and upload it to the YouTube so we can watch it happen. All right, that's it for me. You can follow me at Stiznarchy on Twitter if you do so wish. And like I said, blogtalkradio.com, that's our home. Search Rattlich. Go back in the archives. Check out all the great episodes that we have to offer here. Coop, Mark, thanks for having me on here. Let's get out of here. I'm ready to rock and roll.
All right. Be well, be safe, and behave, everybody.
This is New York firefighter Raphael Porriette for Firehouse Subs. Every day, a part of every sub you buy at Firehouse Subs helps provide life-saving equipment for first responders. And now, for a limited time, they're introducing the Daily Sub Special. Every day, get a medium sub of the day for just $5.55. They kick it off with Meatball Monday and finish it off with Italian Sunday, with something delicious every day in between for just $5.55. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives. Tap the banner now to learn more. This is New York firefighter Raphael Porriette for Firehouse Subs. Every day, a part of every sub you buy at Firehouse Subs helps provide life-saving equipment for first responders. And now, for a limited time, they're introducing the Daily Sub Special. Every day, get a medium sub of the day for just $5.55. They kick it off with Meatball Monday and finish it off with Italian Sunday, with something delicious every day in between for just $5.55. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives. Tap the banner now to learn more.